In 2016, within a quiet room at the Disney Channel offices, a young video blogger named Jake Paul signed a contract to star in the series Bizaardvark. At that moment, no one could foresee that this smiling teenager would soon become entangled in one of the most notorious scandals to rock social media. Official records mark the beginning of his rise to fame on the Vine platform, where Jake, alongside his older brother Logan Paul, crafted short comedic clips. Yet the deeper investigation paints a darker picture. Even then, Jake employed questionable tactics to boost his popularity. Former classmates recount episodes of bullying captured on camera. These videos, showing him tormenting vulnerable students, were later erased. Fortunately, copies survived in the archives held by the school administration. Of particular concern are the statements from Jake Paul's old friends in Cleveland. They reveal that by age 15, he displayed chilling signs of sociopathy. He would spend countless hours meticulously plotting revenge against those who crossed him, using personal information as tools for blackmail. 3 victims of his cyberbullying attempts ultimately tried to take their own lives. Police reports from that era documented ongoing psychological abuse, but the cases were swiftly closed due to his minor status. The year 2017 marked a pivotal moment as Jake formed Team 10, a collective of young content creators living under one roof in a sprawling Los Angeles mansion. At first glance, this appeared to be a typical creative group. However, former members paint a harrowing portrait of psychological torment and manipulation. Financial records from that period expose an intricate scheme exploiting these young talents. Contracts signed by Team 10 members granted Jake total control over their personal lives. Communication with family required approval. Phones were tapped, emails monitored, and any form of dissent was met with heavy fines. Los Angeles police reports reveal that during Team 10's existence, neighbors made 47 calls complaining not only about loud parties but also suspicious gatherings late at night, accompanied by sounds resembling explosions and screams. The fire department responded 3 times due to fires deliberately set on the estate grounds. In one incident, a 16-year-old girl suffered injuries, yet her parents abruptly withdrew their complaint after receiving a substantial sum of money. The year 2018 unleashed serious scandals as former Team 10 member Alyssa Violet publicly accused Jake Paul of emotional abuse. She described an environment within the mansion that resembled a cult, where blind obedience to Jake's will was demanded. Other ex-members disclosed the presence of surveillance cameras in bedrooms and bathrooms, with footage later used as tools of blackmail. Investigative journalists exposed that exclusive parties hosting influential Hollywood figures regularly took place at the Team 10 residence, where minors were alarmingly present. Former staff reported that guests were offered illicit forms of entertainment. 3 separate sexual assault cases were quietly buried with the aid of expensive legal teams. Meanwhile, financial fraud became increasingly evident. Analyses revealed that a large portion of views on Jake Paul's channel were generated by bots. Experts estimate that up to 40% of his audience consisted of fake accounts. Advertisers were deceived into paying for contracts based on these inflated numbers, with total fraud estimated in the millions of dollars. By 2019, a darker side of Jake Paul emerged. Evidence surfaced of underground parties at the Team 10 mansion, where underage girls were supplied with alcohol and drugs. Police records mention 3 overdoses that were quietly covered up through powerful connections. In the same period, 2 girls vanished without a trace. Simultaneously, documents revealed Jake Paul's early forays into professional boxing were less about sport and more a vehicle for money laundering. Banking records uncovered suspicious transactions, channeled through offshore companies, timed just before his initial fights. Insiders allege that fight outcomes were prearranged with bookmakers. Strangely, all these scandals only seemed to amplify his fame. Jake Paul transformed toxicity into a personal brand. Each scandal attracted new subscribers and lucrative advertising deals. Forbes estimated his fortune at $11.5 million by the end of 2019, wealth built on manipulation and deceit. Exploitation of young talent was merely the beginning. The real trouble began when he ventured beyond YouTube, stepping into the realms of big business and professional sports, environments where his habitual manipulation risked far graver consequences. In 2020, amid a world transformed by the pandemic, Jake Paul seized an opportunity to launch the largest scam of his career. During the lockdown, he announced the financial freedom movement, an online course priced at $20 per month, promising to teach teenagers how to earn millions from home. Investigators uncovered that much of the course content was stolen from other business coaches, with the remainder copied from free internet sources. Within 3 months, this scheme netted over $2 million from unsuspecting teenagers. The funds were swiftly siphoned off through a web of offshore companies. But this was only the start. In July 2020, the FBI raided Jake Paul's Calabasas mansion. Officially, the search related to investigations into mass riots at a shopping mall, but insiders revealed the true aim was to seize documents tied to financial fraud. In a calculated move, Jake Paul exploited cryptocurrencies to deceive his young audience. He promoted worthless tokens, acquired for next to nothing, sparking a surge in price as new investors poured in. Behind the scenes, he quietly sold off his holdings, leaving his fans with empty hands. This classic pump-and-dump scheme netted him around $10 million. The spotlight soon fell on the Dink Doink project, a cryptocurrency aggressively pushed by Paul. By 2021, investigations uncovered that he secretly owned 100% of the tokens at launch. His relentless advertising caused the token's value to soar by 7,000%, only for Paul to liquidate his stake and trigger a market crash. Thousands of teenagers saw their savings vanish. Meanwhile, another scam took shape in the NFT space. Jake Paul unveiled a digital art collection called Pokemon Cards, which used copyrighted images without authorization. The project raised $4 million in just 24 hours, yet buyers never received the promised tokens. Within a week, the project's website mysteriously vanished. Then, in 2022, more damning evidence surfaced. Investigative journalists uncovered that Jake Paul had leveraged his boxing career as a front for money laundering. Prior to each bout, a web of fake accounts was orchestrated to place bets. Though bookmakers flagged suspicious activity, these cases were quietly swept under the rug. Leaked bank documents revealed millions of dollars flowing from dubious sources through Jake Paul's accounts. This money was swiftly converted into cryptocurrency, shuffled across dozens of wallets, only to reappear disguised as legitimate income from advertising and merchandise sales. The most scandalous scheme was the so-called boxing fund, an investment opportunity Jake Paul pitched to his fans, promising their money would finance his training. However, the truth was far more sinister. Instead of funding training, the cash was immediately funneled out through front companies registered in Belize and the Cayman Islands. By 2023, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission had launched an investigation into these suspicious activities. Paul's cryptocurrency ventures, investment schemes, and questionable transactions were now under intense scrutiny. Yet, the most unsettling developments emerged behind the scenes, as connections between Jake Paul and organized crime began to surface. Financial analysts traced transfers to accounts linked to known criminal organizations. Figures with criminal histories, notorious for handling delicate problems, appeared regularly within Paul's inner circle. A string of suspicious incidents quickly drew investigators' attention. One journalist probing Jake Paul's cryptocurrency schemes suffered a suspicious accident. A former employee, poised to expose financial fraud details, abruptly withdrew their allegations after an ominous visit from unknown parties. Moreover, a server containing critical evidence was destroyed in a mysterious fire. Now, as the fight against Mike Tyson looms, financial experts are raising alarms. Betting sites have already recorded suspicious activity, new offshore companies continue to appear, and offers to sell insider information about the fight's outcome are surfacing on the dark web. This video ignited a flood of shocking revelations, shaking even the most devoted fans. Police reports indicate that from 2017 to 2020, law enforcement received 14 complaints related to sexual harassment at the Team 10 mansion. 9 of those complaints were quietly withdrawn after substantial payments were made. 3 cases mysteriously vanished from police archives, while 2 others were dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Former employees spoke of systematic abuse targeting young women attending auditions for Team 10. Victims were reportedly drugged, filmed in compromising situations, and then blackmailed. Security personnel revealed the existence of a secure safe containing hard drives filled with these disturbing recordings. Among the dark tales, the disappearance of 19-year-old model Emily Redford stands out. She was last seen at a party hosted at Jake Paul's mansion in August 2019, mere days before she vanished without a trace. Emily had confided to friends about witnessing horrifying events. Her phone's last signal was traced to the Mojave Desert. Shockingly, the police investigation abruptly halted following a call from powerful individuals. In 2021, the story took another turn. Leaked fragments of surveillance footage from the mansion surfaced online, exposing scenes of violence, underage drug use, and other illicit acts. Within 24 hours, every copy was scrubbed from the internet. Accounts that had shared the footage were swiftly blocked. Investigators uncovered evidence of hidden underground rooms beneath the mansion, absent from official blueprints. Builders confirmed these rooms were outfitted with soundproofing. Officially, Paul claimed these spaces were filming studios. Yet former team members recounted hearing screams in the dead of night and witnessing bizarre rituals. In May 2021, further revelations linked Paul to an international human trafficking network. Investigative journalists exposed that some Team 10 auditions served as a front to select girls who were then trafficked abroad. 3 cases were documented but never prosecuted. Financial records revealed regular cash payments to public relations consultants. Insiders disclosed this money was used to bribe witnesses and smooth over legal troubles. Intriguingly, one consultant had ties to a notorious Los Angeles crime family. In 2022, FBI raids descended on Paul's mansion, officially targeting weapons possession. However, agents seized dozens of hard drives and documents pointing to far graver crimes. A week later, the lead agent inexplicably resigned and relocated overseas. Simultaneously, disturbing details emerged about psychological control within Team 10. Former members likened Paul's methods to those of destructive cults. Isolation from family, invasive control over personal lives, and collective punishments formed the backbone of this oppressive system. Most chilling were accounts of a punishment room in the mansion's basement, where Paul allegedly conducted harrowing, educational conversations with disobedient members. 3 former Team 10 members remain in psychological rehabilitation, grappling with trauma endured in that very room. By 2023, new accusations surfaced, this time from within the boxing world. 2 cheerleaders stepped forward, accusing Paul of attempted rape prior to one of his fights. The case never reached trial, and both women abruptly left the country after receiving settlements for moral damages. The most startling disclosure came from a former bodyguard, who revealed the existence of a vast system for collecting compromising material. According to him, Paul maintains dossiers on everyone who has ever worked with him. These files include videos, audio recordings, and private correspondence, all stored as insurance to silence potential whistleblowers. As the fight with Mike Tyson approaches, new testimonies continue to emerge. Former sparring partners speak of unfair training methods. Coaches allege the use of banned substances, and offers to sell explosive compromising material about Jake Paul have begun appearing on the dark web. On January 17, 2020, in Las Vegas, Jake Paul officially announced his first professional boxing match. The investigation uncovered that long before the public spotlight, Jake Paul was deeply entangled in underground fighting rings. Insiders from the world of bookmakers revealed that as early as 2019, he orchestrated secret bouts where vast sums of illicit bets changed hands. These clandestine matches took place in unlicensed clubs across Los Angeles. Often, fabricated fighters were used to manipulate outcomes. Bets were taken exclusively in cash, with nightly wagers soaring to $1 million. 5 such encounters ended with severe injuries inflicted on the participants. Adding to the dark shadows cast by these fights, one competitor vanished without a trace. Suspicion deepened around Jake Paul's first official bout against Anderson Gibb. Mere hours before the fight, millions of dollars funneled into offshore accounts linked directly to Paul. He inexplicably collapsed from a punch lacking knockout power. Focus shifted to Paul's training camps, where former sparring partners disclosed the routine use of banned substances. Medical records leaked to the press revealed alarming irregularities in Paul's blood tests. 3 laboratories responsible for these tests abruptly shut down after visits from unidentified visitors. The investigation exposed ties between Paul's entourage and Mexican drug cartels. Paul's private jet frequently flew to Mexico, officially for training purposes. Radar data, however, recorded landings in regions notorious for steroid and illicit drug production. 3 members of Paul's team had prior convictions for drug trafficking. In 2022, new revelations surfaced during preparations for the fight against Tyron Woodley. Suspicious incidents plagued Paul's training camp, including the hospitalization of 2 sparring partners suspected of poisoning. One's blood tested positive for substances known to manipulate doping results. Financial investigations unveiled a labyrinthine money laundering operation run through boxing events. A network of front companies was constructed, ostensibly for organizing fights and ticket sales. In truth, these firms funneled millions from illegal betting and banned substance sales. Attention turned to Paul's involvement in underground bare-knuckle fight circuits. FBI reports implicated him in organizing unlicensed tournaments featuring amateur fighters. Bets were placed using cryptocurrency, and these brutal fights frequently resulted in severe injuries. 3 tournaments took place in the basements of Las Vegas casinos, with another staged in an abandoned warehouse in Los Angeles. The year 2023 shattered any illusions of innocence. A whistleblower from Paul's former team leaked documents exposing systematic fight fixing. A sophisticated bribery scheme manipulated judges, while tampering with gloves and doping violations came to light. Evidence showed that 5 of Paul's fights were entirely scripted. The operation extended to bookmakers, where hundreds of fake accounts were created days before each fight to funnel bets. Money moved through cryptocurrency wallets before converting into cash via underground exchanges. Experts estimated that each fight laundered between $10 and $15 million through this elaborate network. Simultaneously, links between Paul and organized crime surfaced. Individuals with histories of racketeering and extortion infiltrated his entourage. Police identified 3 former mafia associates serving as consultants for his boxing operation. These men specialized in neutralizing uncooperative opponents. The investigation uncovered a chilling system of intimidation targeting Paul's rivals before matches. Opponents endured psychological warfare, including direct threats and surveillance of their families. Property damage incidents further pressured fighters, leading 2 to withdraw from scheduled fights after visits from Paul's representatives. Meanwhile, a doping scandal escalated. Laboratory analyses detected traces of experimental drugs in Paul's samples, substances designed to evade standard detection methods. 3 anti-doping officials abruptly resigned after attempting to investigate. Their computers were hacked and crucial data erased. With the highly anticipated fight against Mike Tyson announced, experts raised urgent alarms. New offshore companies appeared, poised to handle bets, accompanied by suspicious figures bearing criminal records entering Paul's circle. These individuals were spotted close to Paul, while known associates of banned substance manufacturers frequented his training camp. By October 2024, preparations for the biggest fight of Jake Paul's career intensified. Yet behind the spectacle, a far darker narrative took shape. Financial intelligence revealed that over $50 million had flowed through Paul's offshore accounts in the preceding 3 months. Suspicious cryptocurrency transactions peaked in 1 week, with more than 1,000 new wallets created to channel massive funds. Experts noted this mirrored the patterns of Paul's previous boxing-related scams. Insiders reported strange goings-on in the training camp. Sparring sessions were rare, replaced by frequent meetings with dubious characters. These visitors were linked to banned substance manufacturers. Paul's private plane made 3 trips to Mexico, returning laden with sports equipment. A fresh investigation uncovered a network of front companies set to place enormous bets on the eve of the upcoming fight. Preliminary figures suggested the total wagers might exceed $100 million. At the same time, Tyson's team faced intimidation attempts. 3 members of Tyson's coaching staff reported being followed and threatened. 1 sparring partner was hospitalized after an assault by unknown assailants. Police found evidence implicating individuals from Paul's entourage. Attention focused on Paul's new enterprise, Victory Labs. Officially a sports nutrition company, the probe revealed it was purchasing ingredients for experimental stimulants, adding another sinister layer to this unfolding saga. Behind the scenes, 3 former operatives from Mexican drug cartels began consulting for this enterprise. Just 2 months before the fight, a shadowy expert in psychological conditioning appeared within Jake Paul's circle. The FBI uncovered this individual's troubling past, linked to orchestrating fixed matches in professional sports. Secret rendezvous with bookmaker representatives unfolded within his hotel room walls. October 2024 brought a fresh wave of revelations. Leaked documents surfaced online, exposing Jake Paul's attempts to mastermind an elaborate fraud scheme. The blueprint for manipulation surrounding the fight involved tampering with gloves, bribing judges, and deploying banned substances. The operation's budget was estimated at a staggering $30 million. Law enforcement observed a surge of suspicious activity tied to criminal syndicates converging on the fight. Notorious underworld figures arrived in Las Vegas, preparing vast sums of cash for illicit wagers. 3 underground bookmakers opened special channels to accept these unique bets. Alarm bells rang louder with the arrival of individuals linked to synthetic drug manufacture within Jake Paul's entourage. The DEA reported regular deliveries of experimental stimulants to his training camp. Meanwhile, 2 anti-doping officials abruptly took leave after attempting an unscheduled inspection. Medical experts, analyzing recent training footage, noted disturbing signs of psychotropic substance use. Jake Paul's behavior at press conferences grew increasingly erratic and unhinged. He spoke of secret forces and supernatural powers, prompting 3 independent psychiatrists to diagnose severe psychosis. Just 1 week before the fight, reports surfaced of clandestine talks between Paul's representatives and Las Vegas crime bosses. These secret meetings hashed out the precise details for orchestrating the right outcome. Bribes exchanged reached into the millions, casting a shadow of corruption over every angle of the event. The atmosphere grew thick with tension and anticipation. Experts warned this was an unprecedented level of deceit and manipulation. Law enforcement readied a special operation, while bookmakers recorded erratic shifts in betting odds. With just days remaining until November 15th, the pressing question loomed. Would this fight mark the pinnacle of Jake Paul's fraudulent career? Could authorities intercept the largest scam ever seen in boxing? And what price would be paid to uncover the truth? Answers may soon emerge, but one certainty remains. Jake Paul's story transcends that of a mere vlogger-turned-boxer. It reveals how modern technology and social media can cloak the grandest deceptions of our era. This is more than a single man's tale. It is a warning to an entire generation. This generation matured amid social networks where reality and fiction blurred dangerously. From Jake Paul's first Disney Channel contract in 2016 to his 2024 bout with Mike Tyson, we witnessed not only a con man's rise, but the evolution of an entire manipulative system. Thanks to new technologies and youthful naivety, this system flourished. According to social media analysts, over 70% of teenagers trust influencers more than traditional news sources. This blind faith enabled Jake Paul and others to construct financial pyramids, cryptocurrency scams, and fraudulent schemes that netted millions while devastating their followers. Financial experts reveal the majority of Jake Paul's victims were teenagers and young adults aged 13 to 21. Their combined losses from his scams exceed $200 million, and these figures only account for uncovered cases. Psychologists warn of a perilous trend. Social media creates a false sense of intimacy with idols. Teenagers believe the vloggers they watch daily cannot betray them. They mistake sponsored messages for friendly advice and investment pitches for genuine concern. Jake Paul's boxing saga underscores how easily public opinion can be manipulated. Millions believed a mere vlogger transformed overnight into a professional fighter. They overlooked, or refused to see, signs of fixed matches and fraud. More troubling still, Jake Paul's model has become a blueprint. Scores of influencers now chase similar paths, building their own financial pyramids. Experts warn that cryptocurrencies and fraudulent ventures are on the brink of collapse. Cybersecurity professionals predict a new era of financial crime fueled by social media's reach. These platforms allow scammers to fabricate fake identities, counterfeit achievements, and mask criminal schemes behind polished Instagram facades. Analysts reveal that up to 60% of Jake Paul's followers were bots or paid accounts. Yet this illusion of support propelled him to earn millions from advertising deals. Even more sinister is the toxic influence such figures wield over young minds. They normalize deception and greed, teaching that ruthless manipulation and quick wealth are the ultimate goals. This narrative, entwined with underground fights and criminal ties, exposes the fragile boundary between online fame and real-world crime. Social networks have become the perfect veil for money laundering, drug trafficking, and other illicit activities. As the fight with Mike Tyson nears, we stand at the climax of this dark drama. Every sign points to more than a boxing match. It threatens to be the greatest con in sports history. But the real lesson lies beyond Jake Paul himself. It is a stark warning about how easily illusions of success and fame can be constructed today. Social networks can transform from tools of connection into weapons of mass deception. Future generations, In a digital age where reality is shaped with a few clicks, distinguishing truth from deception becomes a vital skill. The number of followers no longer guarantees honesty. Loud proclamations on social media often mask darker truths lurking beneath the surface. As the dust begins to settle after the confrontation with Mike Tyson and fresh revelations emerge, a crucial dialogue about influencer accountability is poised to begin. The urgent need to regulate social networks comes into sharper focus. Protecting the younger generation from the pitfalls of modern digital deception stands as a pressing challenge in this evolving landscape.